senior care just completely blow it up and provide care at every stage of life. Part of that was adult daycare because there was nothing up in Michigan available. But I love it because it's a new thing. It's not available everywhere. And I think it's a fantastic solution. It's, more affordable. Adult daycare is just, I mean, it's amazing, the things that it provides for people.
What's going on, guys? Today we have a very special guest, our very own Rebecca Hamilla. She is our marketing director, brand ambassador for ActivAge, and I'm super excited to share her story with you guys. I think you're gonna love it. Rebecca, thank you for joining me in the hot seat right here in ActivAge, Port Charlotte.
Thanks for having me.
So what's funny is when we hired Rebecca, at the time I didn't know this, but when we were having a conversation, come to find out, she actually had started in the assisted living world about 10 years ago, which was when my wife Chelsea and I had started. And her husband, they lived in and started their own assisted living facility up in Michigan. Did it for 10 years, had just recently sold it and moved down here to Florida. And it was one of those wild experiences because literally we started and sold our facilities right around the same time, and we're in it for almost as long as each other. It was pretty wild. So it was one of those experiences where you're just like, dang, what other crazy people in the world exist that would do something like this? So super excited to have Rebecca here and have her share this story with you guys. I think it's a special one, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So Rebecca, I mean, you're from Michigan. We're at Michigan.
Yep, so I was born and raised in Flint, Michigan.
Born and raised in Flint, Michigan. That's crazy because my dad was born and raised in Flint too.
See,
I know
that's another thing. That is weird.
What do you do in Flint?
Nothing.
So when you think about you're growing up, I mean, I know you had mentioned what led to the assisted living facility. I know you mentioned that your family was in healthcare, I believe. Yes.
So both of my sisters are nurses, and my mom was in the medical field. My brother-in-laws, everybody. So I grew up around that. But what started everything is my aunt and uncle from Indiana needed some care, and my mom brought them home, into her home, and I went around with her looking for an assisted living for them because their needs were pretty great. So we went around in the community and we were looking and interviewing all these homes, and this was the first time that we actually even knew about what this was.
Right.
And we were just seeing the options out there, and it wasn't great. My mom's like, you know what? I think I can just do this myself.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? I think you can too. So I helped her start it, and we did it together. And my husband and I just saw the process. Well, this was actually before we got married. And we're like, hey, we can do this too.
Yeah.
We do things a little bit differently. It was her home that I grew up in, and she, made a portion of it into the assisted living. But yeah, that's kind of what sparked it all. The inspiration.
How old were you when she did that?
I was 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you at 20? Like having, people live in the home next to you or as part of the same home together,
So I wasn't really living at home actually. Okay. Yeah. So I had just moved back from college, and I was figuring out what I wanted to do, and
Gotcha.
Adam and I were planning our wedding and getting everything started.
So then what made the jump then for you and Adam to go out and do this on your own?
Yeah, so he was in business school, and I was actually a paramedic.
Okay. So were you in the ambulance?
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Were you riding along? Were you driving the thing or riding or
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's doing both.
I was doing both.
Keeping the guy alive in the back, driving.
Not at the same time, but yes, both. Yeah, so I did that for a little while, and he was in business school, and we're like, we have no reason to wait. Let's just do this. So some property, became available, and we're like, we can make this happen. So we just dove in.
So you bought a property.
Correct.
And did you and Adam move into that?
I moved in by myself.
Yeah.
And he still had his own place, and we started redoing it and getting it all ready, and we had our first residents. We had 2 of them move in before we were even married.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so at that time, are you living there?
I was living there, yes.
And so you got your 2 residents, you're living there, so you're overnight staff, you're taking care of them,
Everything.
You're preparing meals.
And he was working elsewhere.
So crazy.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that? Like,
I know.
every time I think about the story, I'm just like I like to think that like 10 years ago there was these two people, you know, in this country, like going through this experience, living with, you know, residents in a kind of like a residential home-like environment.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yes.
Like it just blows my mind.
It is crazy. I actually remember on our wedding day that morning, woke up and I had to like assist my residents in their showers and get them all dressed and pack them a bag, and I found them another home for respite, and I dropped them off at those homes, got them all situated, and then I went to get ready to be married.
That's so crazy.
That was I was like, those are that was my wedding day morning.
All right. It's funny. I remember like because Chelsea and I, we were just getting married right around the time we had started too. And so we, you know, we ended up going to, you know, we had a destination wedding and then we went on a honeymoon. But when we came back, this was like the first time that now we were moving into the home together, like full time. Like this was now her new home. Like, welcome home, honey.
Right, exactly.
You know? And we got like, at the time we only had like, I think 4 or 5 residents. We were just getting started, but it was a wild experience to think that like, you know, like coming back from your honeymoon, moving into this house, knowing that you're going to be living now with, you know, 6 grandmas and grandpas.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Did you carry her over the threshold?
I did. Yeah. It was, you know, it was a different experience, you know, than I'm sure most people's first home experience.
I know. Some crazy memories for sure.
So you guys find another home for them for you to be able to go get married, and you can kind of focus on that. Do you guys take a honeymoon at that point in time?
We did. We took a honeymoon, and then after all of that was over, Adam moved in, and you know we filled the house up, and we lived with them. It was about 2 years.
Okay.
And then we moved out into another house right around the corner, and we lived there for a while, and we slowly redid that one and did the same thing.
Wow, that's cool. Like when you think about that experience, like living there, newly married, like what was that like? You know, trying to balance a relationship, taking care of your residents. Probably at this point in time, maybe trying to manage a little bit of a team.
Yeah, you know, we had to be very intentional about alone time or date nights or you know, getting help so we can get away, because it's. Yeah, I mean they're just there and need things all the time. Right.
I remember like we would like you know, we'd be the overnight shift at like 10 p.m. And so like I know for us, like when we would go out to dinner, like we would make sure that we walked into the house at like 9:59. You know, like we wanted to set a good example for our team.
Yes.
But at the same time, we wanted to maximize every little bit of free time.
Every single minute.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So when you think about that experience too, like, do you think it, you know, was there anything about it that like, you know, like that taught you anything as far as like, you know, on the relationship side, you know, just, you know, being able to manage both, you know, relationship as well as.
Well, you know, they say like if you work with your spouse, it's like one of the most difficult things ever, right? Yeah. So we just started out that way. So I feel like we just got all the hard stuff out of the way at the beginning, you know, there was, you know, some power dynamics, like, you know, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. And, you know, we had to work through all of that. But I think that it just taught us a lot on how to work together. And now it's weird because we don't work together anymore. And now that's the weird part.
Right. And what would you say, like, what role did you play versus what role he played? Like,
so I was more operational. I would, you know, more hands-on with the residents. We had a very high needs. All of our residents were really high needs, and that's kind of what our home specialized in. So just with my background and resources, that's primarily what I did. So I trained the caregivers. I was there all the time managing the care plans and, you know, the doctors and all that kind of thing. And he was on more just, you know, building the business and finances and scheduling and, you know, the background kind of stuff. Or if anyone needed to get in trouble or get fired, you know, that wasn't a me thing.
Adam, you gotta take one for the team.
Oh yeah,
you know?
yeah. I'm like, you gotta take care of this. Yeah.
When you think about like, you know, just, you know, the residents that you took care of, you know, were they typically seniors, or were they, was it kind of a different age mix, or like?
Yeah, it was definitely a mixture. Actually, the first 8 years, this is just coincidence, we had all males.
Okay. Gotcha.
It was so strange. I don't even know why it happened. It just was the way that it was. But we had a mixture. We had developmentally disabled. It was all ages.
Gotcha. And then when you think about opening up the second home, how far away was the second home from the first home?
Less than a mile away.
Okay, gotcha. So that made it pretty easy to like manage
Yes.
both then. Okay, and then how big of a team did you have to help facilitate both? And when you opened the second home, did you guys live in there as well, or?
So we lived in that house for a couple years, and then by the time we opened it, we had moved out.
Okay.
So we didn't have to live with the residents any longer. So that was a positive for sure.
What was that feeling like?
It was good.
Like
it was nice
to finally like be out on your own.
It was like we didn't have to. Okay, we're good. We're past this point.
Yeah.
So that was good. Our team, we were pretty small. Like the first house we had 7, and the second house we had 7 as well. So I don't know. I mean, we had maybe 12 staff.
Right. To manage between both. Yeah, for sure.
Between both.
That's cool. And then were you able to share staff from one house to the other?
Yes. Yep. They would go back and forth. And we did a little bit of home care too, so they would, do that as well.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah. What are some of like your favorite memories when you think about that experience? Like, is there any particular, like resident that comes to mind, or any
Favorite memories. I have a lot of funny memories. For sure.
Hey, we like those too.
Okay, funniest memory. We had just gotten back from our honeymoon, and there was like a kind of a large bedroom in the back that was private, had its own bathroom, and but it shared a bathroom with the living room. And it's like 4 a.m. and I wake up and I sit up because I hear something, and one of our very first residents, I loved him to death. He was just standing there at the end of our bed, just completely butt naked.
Wow.
And he wanted breakfast. And
at 4 a.m.
At 4 a.m.
So you got a nudist at 4 a.m.
Yeah,
that wants
I was
breakfast.
like, Adam, I think you forgot to lock the door. So
I bet you he never forgot to lock the door again.
No, never. So that memory.
Yeah. It's hard to probably eliminate that memory.
Yeah, that's the one.
As much as you want to. Yeah, that's funny though.
Funny.
Yeah, so that was right after you guys got back from.
Yeah, that was like a couple months in, maybe. It was like right at the beginning.
Yeah, that'll definitely, like, when you think about a marriage like that just as far as like, being so new into your marriage.
Yeah.
And then like being in this environment where like people are dependent on you guys all the time.
All the time.
And it's like it's 24/7, 365, and you guys live there.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is wild now, but in the moment it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt right.
I know, and that's I mean, and I feel like you look back and it's like it's hard to almost believe that you went through that.
Yeah.
But at the time, like it felt normal.
Right, I'm like, wait, why did we do that? But it did. It felt normal.
So at the time when you guys, did you ever have friends that were like, hey, can we come over? Or like.
Yes, we would have friends over for like game nights, and we're like, you gotta be quiet. We can't wake up the residents.
Like everyone's in bed by 8.
Yeah, everyone's in bed by 8. You come over.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do.
No, that's funny though. That is cool.
Yeah.
And so when you think about, like what led you to, because now you're in Florida, obviously.
Yes.
So this is happening in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
You lived in Flint. How far away was the homes that you guys opened from Flint?
It's just north of Flint, so maybe 10 minutes.
And what info is it for Michigan? Because it seems like you attract a lot of people from Michigan.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
So what was the name of the town?
Mount Morris.
Oh, Mount Morris.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Mount Morris.
That's cool. And so what ended up inspiring you and Adam to come to Florida, or what I guess changed that journey for you guys?
So Adam's always wanted to come down here. He had some family members that lived down here on the east side of the state, and we would come and visit as much as possible. And he's always said, we're going to move down there, we're going to move down there. And with the world of COVID, things just changed, and it just made business different than what we were accustomed to. So we're like, I think this is the time to do it. If we want to make a change, this is the time to do it. And so we did it.
That's cool. Now,
we did it.
When you think about Michigan compared to Florida, like for you, were you like, did you enjoy the cold? Did you enjoy like the seasons?
I love seasons. I love Michigan. There's a lot of beautiful areas, but sunshine and new adventures, I'm open to whatever. I'm like, sure, let's do it. I'm not, yeah.
So how have you enjoyed Florida so far?
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. People are so happy.
Yeah.
You can tell the difference.
Yeah. I was like driving down this morning, because yesterday, Monday, was kind of a cloudy day.
Mm-hmm.
Little just kind of like a little weather going on, and then this morning driving down here, just absolutely beautiful, sunny. And I'm just like, man, like this is what Florida's all about.
Exactly.
And I'm like, and I remember my dad always saying in Michigan it was like cloudy like 80% of the time.
All the time, and you don't realize it, but there's so much like seasonal depression because it's not even the temperatures; it's just the lack of sun.
Yeah.
Just gray skies all the time, and
right.
And you don't really realize how much it affects you until you leave.
Right. So and then so you came to Florida. How long have you been in Florida now?
About 1.5 years now.
Okay, gotcha. And so you guys sold your homes up there.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
And then moved down here. So in your mind, like for you, what have you enjoyed the most about just being in the healthcare field now that you've had the experience of your being out on your own, and obviously I know you've worked in home care and now with us, but what do you enjoy the most out of it?
What do I enjoy the most out of being in the healthcare field? That's a good question. I enjoy growing and just contributing to people's happiness.
Yeah.
So, there's so many people that don't know the resources that are available to them. And so just sharing that with them and, just seeing like, oh, okay, so there's a place for me, or there's a way that I can take care of my loved one, or, people need that education. They don't know what's available to them. So I get a lot of enjoyment out of that for sure.
And I know you kind of went from an operational role, making a lot of like healthcare related decisions.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Now you're in a sales and marketing role.
Yeah.
So like how's that transition been for
I
you?
like it so far. I'm still getting
So
my
far.
groove. So far. I'll let you know here in a.
So give you an update in 6 months. Yeah.
Yes, you'll give me an update. I like it. It is definitely different, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I really am.
What do you like about the sales and marketing versus operations that's different?
I think with operations, it's a lot of putting out fires.
Yeah.
And problem solving, which I feel that I'm good at, but it can be a little stressful, you know. But with sales and marketing, like you're always bringing positivity. You're being it's just like a positive light instead of putting out fires
right.
you know.
Instead of dealing with problems
Yeah.
and putting out fires, you're actually sharing things like that can help people.
Yeah, you're giving
like,
solutions before there's even like a huge problem or emergency. So it's just coming at it from a different angle, and so it feels nice.
For sure.
It's like, yeah, I can help you before things fall apart. So.
That's awesome. And it's been a cool experience for sure. Like, and I think when just even just the journey, having the homes, even our age. I think that's what's crazy too, because we're about me, you, Chelsea, Adam are all about the same age.
It's crazy.
I know, like, what are the odds of that? And then come to find out, we have our daughters are basically the same age.
Right. I think their birthday's like a day apart.
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy.
It's so weird.
I know.
Yeah.
So it was that, I think that on the phone it was just like one thing after another. I'm like, really? No way! Come on!
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, we're like the whole time.
And I had
it was
no
just
idea.
Like, I know.
I'm just telling everything, and then at the end, he tells me, I'm like, wait, what? No.
No way.
I thought you were messing with me. I was like, this is a prank call.
I know, but so you can't even make up the story. You know,
Right.
like it's like a one of a kind story for sure.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think about, like, when you think about just in general the future of care, like just where things are going? I mean, now that you've kind of had an experience with assisted living, home care, adult day, I mean, how do you view the three of them, or the difference between the three?
Yeah, so this doesn't directly answer your question, but it's funny. Another part of our similarities is part of our dream and vision is we wanted to create, have the senior care just completely blow it up and provide care at every stage of life.
Yeah.
And part of that was adult daycare, because there was nothing up in Michigan available. And so that was always something that we wanted to do. So that's another part that's really weird. I'm like, well, all right, this just kind of
filling that role.
Yeah. But I love it because it's a new thing. It's not available everywhere, and I think it's a fantastic solution. It's more affordable, and home care is needed. It's popular. It's out there, but adult daycare is just, I mean, it's amazing. The things that it provides for people, the social interactions, and I don't know, just so much happiness.
Even like during times like just like coming in here and I know like our office is temporarily in like our Port Charlotte location. Like are there moments where you've like witnessed interactions happen here where you're just like, wow, that is so cool, or like, is there anything like?
Yeah, I wish I could hang out here all day, but no.
I know.
It's a party.
I'm always like when you come in, I'm like, does this one do out there?
I know.
No, I know.
It's once you're here, it's hard to leave. It's so fun. Everyone's smiling. Everyone's interacting with each other. It's it's amazing.
So when you think about like one fun fact, or whatever you might have. Fun, exciting, something we may not know. What is it about Rebecca Hamela that we don't know about?
You don't know about? One fun fact? I don't know, fun. Okay, so interesting facts. Yes. We'll go with interesting.
Whatever you can come up with, whatever filler adjective you want.
We're gonna go with interesting.
All right.
Okay, so I went to college in Tennessee, and I was interested in psychology, and I did that for a while, and I realized, like, hey, you know what? There's so many classes that I'm doing that are not related to anything. I don't know. This just doesn't feel right. So I actually dropped out of college, and I went and did an internship in Peru with missionaries for 7 months. And it was probably the best experience I've ever had.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I lived with missionaries, and I ate some crazy things.
What'd you eat?
I ate some fried grubs and some nasty stuff.
Well, so for them though, is this like was this an event they were putting on, or was this like what they eat like as a snack every day?
Well, okay, so I can't remember the name of it. I really should remember it, but we did this upriver trip, and the village is upriver. Like it's when you have a special guest, they make this thing where they chew up yucca, and they put it in this. It's really
What's
nasty.
yucca?
Yucca is like not bananas, but it's like plantains, kind of. Yeah. So they chew it up.
Yeah.
And they put it in this container, and they add like citrus to it and a bunch of different things. And they strain it, and I wish I could remember the name of it. And that's what they give their guest.
Gotcha.
So I was warned about this. I'm not kidding. It's terrible.
Is this like a drink?
Yeah, it's a drink.
Yeah. Is it an alcoholic drink?
No.
Oh, okay. It's just like a welcoming.
Yeah.
Okay.
So bad.
I feel like just even me talking about it makes. I feel like you get queasy on me now.
Just a little bit.
like should we change the subject?
Well, the advice was don't drink it too fast because then they're gonna want to give you more because they think you like it, and don't go too slow because then they'll be offended thinking that you don't like it. So you had to like find that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least someone warned you about it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Gotcha. So on the missionary, what was the primary purpose of the missionary trip? Like, were you like helping build stuff? Were you like, was it really just talking to people, relationship building, or?
Yeah. So I wanted to do missions. So this missionary family, they moved there, and they had built a church there. They had reached a ton of like unreached people group up the river in Iquitos.
What was it like to experience that being from like America? Like,
oh, I mean it's a huge culture shock, but it was amazing.
That's
just
cool.
to see how other people live. Like we get so comfortable.
Right. No, I feel like sometimes we need to see that just to be reminded of how good we have it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I just helped in everything they were doing. It wasn't like a huge project or anything, but we did some upriver trips where we would just go and we dug a well for clean water. That was something we did.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. So, and how long were you there for?
7 months.
7 months. Wow. 7 months.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What did it feel like to get home?
I didn't want to come home.
Really?
Yeah. But I came home, and then that was when.
Did you guys sleep in like huts? Or
No.
Was there actually like? Was there like running water and like real like?
So the missionary that I lived with, they had a real house.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, there was no windows, no air. It was very hot.
Wow.
But it was way up, and then the church was underneath it.
That is wild.
And it was right on the river.
Yeah.
But when we went upriver, we slept in hammocks.
Wow, that is crazy.
With mosquito nets.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a wild experience. And I don't know if I could. I couldn't have lasted 7 months. I'd probably do better living in an assisted living facility than like in a.
That's probably what got me ready for it.
That's
if I
true.
can handle this,
Oh,
then
yeah,
I got
that's true, yeah.
everything's a piece of
Right,
cake.
I know. Wow, that is wild. That is such a cool experience, though.
Yeah.
Is and now what is like Adam doing? What's his?
Yeah. So
Because now you guys are not working together.
Yeah, we're not working together. So
Yeah.
he works for a community in Longboat Key.
Okay.
So he's doing some management for the community there.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's awesome. And then for you guys, what would you say like is like, something that you're passionate about like going forward, the next like, couple years, 5 years, 10 years, like is there something that really like feeds you and kind of like, gets you excited?
Yeah. I mean, we still are traveling and going to places. So I think that's always something that is near and dear to our hearts. We go to Honduras a lot. So we always want to be able to create a lifestyle that we can continue to contribute to that.
Yeah.
But just growing.
Yeah.
Just growing and improving ourselves and learning more things and just being better people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's cool because I know, we're grateful to have you on board.
Yes.
And super
Happy
excited.
to be here.
And I know, ActivAge, we got a ton of stuff we're doing, and it's cool to be able to have someone like Rebecca on board that like, has real experience taking care of people, that are living in their own home, that like, and can understand like, that side of things as well as understanding like, the world of healthcare, and coming from a healthcare background and just knowing like, all these things exist. And then so when you come in from when you enter that world of sales and marketing, you're entering it from this place of like a true understanding.
Yes.
And it's not that you're just a salesperson. It's like, no, I'm an operator at heart. I take care of people at heart. Like this is my thing. And then now being able to layer like sales and marketing on top of that, like, and being able to truly go out in the community and advocate on behalf of the services we have to offer, but knowing what it takes to be an operator, knowing what it takes to take care of people, knowing how much of an impact that has on families, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's exciting.
Yes, it is.
And this is just the beginning.
I know.
We got tons of more growth and expansion, and we got to bring an ActivAge to every state in the U.S.
Every state.
That's right. So we
Michigan.
Definitely Michigan. Definitely some Michigan. We're gonna come up there. It's a little. I don't know how often I'll visit up there. But
I mean, the summers are nice. You got about 6 weeks. You're good.
All right, so that's my 6-week window. Every year I'll make my little round, my trip up there in that little 6-week window. So, well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today, Rebecca. Thank you.
Thank you
for joining me. So, if you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, show us a little love, and thank Rebecca for being here today. We appreciate all of you, and we know that we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much. Have a great day. Peace out.